Okay, everybody, so now we are back for this segment of That's a Chew. So tonight's food that we are doing again is called Teddy's Roti Shop here in the District of Columbia on Georgia Avenue. All the details will be in the bio. So you know how we do this, okay? So we eat and we tell a story, and now I got my sister here. And then this is honest review. Ain't nobody pay. I paid for this food, so we gonna be honest about the things here, right? Because this is a safe space.
Yeah, indeed.
So we gonna eat and we gonna get into the story.
Boots.
Okay, but you know we gonna pray first. Sister, I want you to go ahead and give us, take us to the thing.
See, I'm not a good prayer person like that. Like in regards to, listen, like I know what a good prayer is, but I don't pray well.
Okay, well, I'll take it to the place.
God bless you.
Okay, I'll take it to the place. Okay, all hearts and minds clear. Now we in a space. Dear Heavenly Father, universe, we come before you as humbly as we know how, saying thank you for this meal. Thank you for the food that we are about to eat. Let it be nourishing to our bodies. Bless my sister. Thank you for having her here. Give her traveling mercy. It is in your most humble and most precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. All right, so come on, I'm excited.
Okay, I have never told this story like.
Okay, and this is your first time tasting.
Remember my first time. Okay. The chicken is cute.
The chicken. Ooh. Cute.
She's good and marinated.
But seasoned.
Boots. Mm-hmm.
Baby, I'm talking about Jesus is the reason for the season. Go ahead, so go ahead.
So I have never told this story before. We're putting it in my book.
Oh, we're going to get into the book later, too.
So I was 18 years old. I'm in a city called Elk Point, South Dakota. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. Baby, I was homeless that summer. Honey, we printing checks.
Come on, checks.
Paper checks, baby. Baby, stealing cars, changing VIN numbers, just doing the thing.
Doing all the things.
I was in love with this drug dealer, honey, so I just knew I was just really a Bonnie to his Clyde.
Oh, I love a few.
So we get arrested in Elk Point, South Dakota. The population of that city is 300 people, mind you. And they just have me held because I have pending charges in Nebraska. They wouldn't put me in general population. So I'm in a drunk tank. And if you've been in a drunk tank, this wasn't like a drunk tank with a toilet in it. The toilet was carved into the floor, and it was some grates. It was a brick bed. There was a little pallet, a little space. They had a camera in there. They were feeding me 3 times a day, but they were like, we're not putting you in general population. Because I've always had a little hip, a little cakes, a little things. So I'm like, it's the only time in my prison, there was the only time when I was like, this time gonna be too much for me to handle. Bitch, I'm about to break out of here.
I'm screaming.
So I'm in there, and this may be like my 4th month. Now, I'm a kid that grew up on soap operas, baby. And one of the girls I really loved was Miss Vicky Buchanan on One Life to Live.
One Life to Live.
Mama had multiple personalities. There was a lot of carrying on happening, honey. And she would do heinous things, but because she had multiple personality disorder, honey, she could never be held accountable because it wasn't her fault. And so...
Is there a little too much seasoning?
For me, it's hitting.
I'm like...
But I also haven't had the chicken and the potato together. The chicken with the roti, I feel like balance each other out.
Yeah, that's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love this in like a little taquito, no shade. I know that's not in alignment with the culture of the food, but this in a little fried piece of little bread would hit. A little sauce, yes, God.
Now the roti is on.
But, baby, I fake a mental health incident in the holding cell. I know they watched me on the camera. I get them to transport me from Elk Point, South Dakota to Yankton, South Dakota, which is the capital of South Dakota. They have this mental health facility. And bitch, I'm staking out the place. Because I'm out the jail now. And
Because you gonna break out. You on your way out.
the first thing I do, I'm there for maybe 3 days. I sneak into one of the rooms where they got a phone.
Don't do it.
And I call the hospital pretending to be the judge, telling them to let me free. I got really close. But they realized I was on the phone in the room.
I love
So then they took my shoes from me because they was like, oh, this bitch is trying to get up out of here. But they kept trying to put me through these evals so they could get me released from the place. I'm like, no, girl, I'm gonna be here. The Coca-Cola, the Pepsi man, honey, he was always looking at me.
Body.
The boots. And so but I ain't got no shoes. I'm in socks. Baby, he comes in, we talking. He leave the side door open while he filling the Pepsi machine. I sneak out the side door, bitch, and I am running down the street, barefoot. There was, what I know now is it was like a federal halfway house next to it. And this is the shady part. These niggas was locked up their damn self.
Screaming.
And they told somebody that I was escaping. But I'm just running. But I'm in socks, mind you.
Feet wet.
But I'm like, girl, at this point.
I gotta see it through.
Huh? At the end of the day gotta end. So, of course they catch me. But like, they won't like, they're not trying to like attack me because it is a mental health facility. Mm-hmm. But they're like driving next to me while I'm just walking and acting as if they're not there. Because I'm just like, I'm still, in my head, I'm like, I'm still gonna figure this out. Baby, they put me in that car and took me back in. Those white sheriffs back in Elk Point were so angry. The way that I was on like cheese and crackers for the rest of my time there, but the way they instantly called Nebraska and was like, come get this bitch up out of here. Because this lady done carried on. But that story, one is, it's funny to me because it's like, I've always been like, I'm going to see it through. Mm-hmm. It also was, literally, that was the only time where I was like, this is too much. After that, I was just like, I got to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? And the other piece is, I realized that random information is always going to be beneficial to me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I've always trained myself to like nothing is random, and I pick up things and I hold them and I have these things there, and that story for me also just reminds me like, bitch, I've always been like, bitch, whatever, girl, we're gonna figure it out. And just like, and on my own, and just like pulling it together and making it happen. And it is so funny to be I think about that story when the moments when I'm at the White House or something. I'll be like, bitch, just the younger me. And also, even if you're in it and it feels like it will be forever, it is not forever.
Say that again.
Even if you are in it and you feel like it's going to be forever, it is not forever. Because in that moment, I was like, at 18, my prison sentence was 8 to 16 years. So at 18, like 10 years, you know what I mean? Like we're older now, so we kind of get how time moves and things. But back then, I was just like, child, I'm never going to get to the other side of that. And do not let the current situation like position you to mess up what is ahead. Like if you gotta go through it, boo.
Go through it.
But there are very few things in this world that are forever. If you like guaranteed to be forever. And so even though it feels like it, we can't let that feeling control us and position us to do things that won't let us, have the life. Because that could have went a lot of ways. We could have had a sheriff that was just excited and just in the third. And so I laugh about it. But baby, yes, my escape from the mental health institution, thinking I'm about to pooch on the Pepsi. Shout out to the Pepsi man. I hope you didn't lose your job today.
Listen, and that is the chill. Oh, baby. First of all, I'm in love with this Rosie though. I'm not gonna hold you. I think like, as much as I try not to be a carb person, Because I don't want to gain all that weight back, sister, but ain't nothing like a good piece of buttered bread. I'm trying to tell you.
Listen, I love roti bread, but I also love in Indian cooking they have the naan, but they have a naan that has like nuts and like diced fruit in it. Because I love like a sweet savory moment, so I will get like my lamb curry. It had a little sweet. And baby, I've been smashed that. I also am notorious for waking up in the middle of the night and notorious for waking up peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Sister, I love a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Notorious.
On potato bread.
Hello.
I know.
Hello. And if we want some real razzle dazzle, put a little butter in the bottom of that pan.
A girl.
Toast her ever so slightly.
A girl after my own heart.
Yes, God.
Well, listen, thank y'all for tuning in for That's a Chew. More of the show coming right now. Hey, look how that season on. When I took that first little bite, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
It kind of got you together?
It kind of got me all the way together. It was giving a wait a minute now.
I had whooped you.
Yes. So, sister, you released an album in 2020. First of all, absolutely amazing. Pisces and E flat major.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
Finally Free is one of my favorite songs. Pisces kind of love. Okay, so walk me through Finally Free, because that was like...
So Finally Free came after Free. So it was the original concept. I had started writing this album like 2018, 2019, right after the divorce. And so then the studio system crashed and he lost all these songs that we had done. And so then we were able to pull some stuff together and I did this EP called Music for the Brokenhearted. And that was like, okay, this is like the hard post-divorce album. And I'm just writing after that. And then the pandemic comes. And I don't know the pandemic is coming, but I got my appointment at the gender affirming clinic set up. So like I'm just in my spirit, I'm just writing and things. And I was like, I want to do a double disc. I was like, this Pisces thing. I also was like, I've written a lot about how people are messed up. I was like, I need to talk about my stuff. And so the album was like an accountability space for me. I just want to throw it all in and just get it out. If I never do anything like this again, I want to be like, I did something in the way I wanted to. The pandemic comes, and so I wrote Free first. And it was based on, I've always said, and I still say, I'm free from Mariah Carey. I said that's the song I want them to play at my funeral. Because you want to talk about Mariah being her gospel bag. It's a nasty piece, but there was these ad libs at the end, and we pulled them out, and I just started writing. I was like, I gotta get this up off of me, and I gotta talk this over myself. And then I was like, okay, we're gonna do this remix. Like I could do something with somebody else, but there's these three women who were incredible singers when we were in high school. Like they're still incredible singers, but they were a group.
The girls that were doing the background.
Yeah, their group is
Wore Me Out.
Yes, and like one of the members is like in Arrested Development, has won a Grammy with them. One of them like runs a like a real type shops. Like a lot of my Louis Vuittons have come from her.
Oh yeah.
The other one is an interior designer. She designed Lighthouse, the housing program that we started.
Oh wow.
So we had been friends for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And we sat down at the table, and I was like, well, what if the kind of, I was thinking of Girl by Destiny's Child. What happens when your homegirl sits you down and be like, listen, sis.
It was very bad.
What do you know what I'm saying? Like, because yes, there's when you do it, but what happens when people call you in? Are you open to it? And so I wanted to feel like a conversation.
Oh, it was. When you said I cried, they said we saw. I said, oh.
So that was the other thing that like was really deep for me, because I was like, I figured they were gonna go through and write all of these leads. They were like, we're gonna sing everything unison. But then when we went to the bridge, we were all in show choir together, so we layer all these parts and you hear these altos, and I also had there was a theme with the Pisces album that I released every single as a maxi single. So if you go into iTunes or any platform, Free has a maxi single, and the acapellas of every song are on there. That's where you'll gag.
Okay, I ain't checked that out. I'm gonna check that out.
That's where you'll gag. And I released all of the instrumentals because I remember that's how I first started writing songs, is that you would get the single and the instrumental, and that's how I learned how to work on a chorus and work on a verse. And we overestimate in thinking how many people have access to like untagged beats and things like that. And so I also wanted to feel like I was putting back into artist culture by putting out acapellas, by putting out instrumentals for songs that I had put myself into, and like focused on that album. I paid for everything on that album. I wrote every song on that album. I produced it myself. That's the first full piece of my art I own. It just happened that the pandemic happened, and then transition happened, and then my career blew up in like a big way. And I think some of the things that make me sad is that people will call me an activist before they call me an artist sometimes. And I know that's because of what I've chose to focus on over the last 4 years. And that's why I'm excited to get back to the studio and work on this next album. And so we started recording, and Angelica is doing some stuff, and got some writers coming in, and some I'm relinquishing some power and bringing in new co-producers and vocal arrangers. And we've got the first single, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to hear it. So even with the new single and everything coming up, what else can we look forward to? Like, I know this, I'm excited to dive into Discovering Your Power, the workbook. Like, this right here was right on time. Thank you for this. We've had multiple conversations offline in reference to fears and things, and me doing things afraid. So talk about the concept or the conception of the workbook.
Discovering Your Power is, it's not supposed to be like the self-help guru stuff where it's like, oh my God, like, it's the fact that we have these things in us, and we are all people who have survived and navigated things, but we'll go through something difficult and we'll forget we have these skills. We'll forget the journey. And in my experience, and everything in this is based on my experience, everything in this is like from lessons I've had to learn. And building this workbook, if you keep an inventory, it's like going to the grocery store. If you don't check your cabinets, if you don't look in your refrigerator before you go to the grocery store, you'll mess around and go and get something you already have.
Sure will.
Now you'll use it, but there's nothing worse than duplicating something you have already. And this workbook is about inventorying ourselves. It's about affirming ourselves. It's about working on plans and strategies. There are plans and strategies to healthy relationships. There are plans and strategies to navigating fear. There are plans and strategies to thinking about how we be our best selves. And I think that the world has chosen to make it seem like some people are just born great. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, no, like,
that's it. You got it.
Listen, and you will have attributes, but I am a living example of, no, baby, if you work at it, again, I'm a great songwriter. I've always been an all right singer. And when I say that, I mean, I know that I can perform, but that is something that I work at. And I know that it improves. I know where my focus is at. I know that I can write to my voice, all those sort of things. So like, understanding my skill doesn't mean that I'm not aware, that I don't think that I can go out here and do the biggest I'm gonna stand toe to toe. I put people on that Pisces album that I thought were some of my mentors in singing, because I was like, I feel strong enough now that I know everything about me, that I'm not afraid to go in there and do that. But if you don't look at what you have, you don't get to be proud of it, right? And you don't acquire what you may be missing in the thoughtful way. So that's what the workbook is about. It's about loving and caring for my people. And last but not least, as activists, this work will kill us if we let it.
Yes.
And I have an outdate in regards to working the way that I work. And I came into my 40s saying that I want to create things that will be here for my people when I'm done being the person that picks up the phone. I don't want to not be present, but I'm like, I can build things. We only see that when people are dying and like they left a legacy. There's such a thing as like a living, like there's a living trust.
Yes, absolutely.
Like there's a living will.
Share.
I'm leaving. I want to have this living legacy work, and this is one of the things where I'm like, when I'm done, I'll be very proud of it,
baby.
And I'm excited for us to expand on it and do more trainings and learning. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. So what? So what else is next for you? I know that the conference that took place, Lucy Hicks.
Yeah. Lucy Hicks Anderson.
Yeah.
We're doing this big repro work, and I work in philanthropy. So, the next thing is continue to bring money to my people, to continue to break down the myths and the barriers for my people to get what they need, to continue to be in the trenches with my sisters and my siblings. Next is, I just want to enjoy and have more fun. Prison 18 to 27 inside, I'm not really a fun person. In regards to, I don't think that I know how to have fun in the way that I want to experience it. If that makes sense.
In the world.
That kind of skill set, I feel like you get in that 19 to 25. I didn't get that. And so I want to have more fun. I just want to spend more time with my sisters and it not be work.
Absolutely.
That is something I've said where it's I want to just be more with my sisters. I want to love more. I want to engage in that practice. I want to keep writing. I want to be of service in new ways. I want to write songs for other people.
Yeah.
We help. Listen, just wrote some stuff for Angelica. I want to. There's different ways of service. I want to explore that.
Absolutely.
And I want to do other things I enjoy. I've acted. I've done all these other things, and it's I want to do those things too. I want to. I was gonna be on the second season of Transworld Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that was because I was I want to do something that I know I would enjoy, but the world doesn't think it's something that I hate when people are I didn't even ask you about that because I didn't think. There's so much about me, right? And so I'm very much a person to be would you be interested in this, even if it seems awkward, because you never know. I ended up not filming the second season because for me, the reason I said yes was the excitement of telling my story. And I'm not knocking any of the things that I see online in some of these shows with our trans sisters because those are stories that exist within our community.
Absolutely.
And those are stories that exist in me and how we navigate.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to show we're thriving.
Yeah.
As much as we're navigating stuff, we are thriving. And I was excited to tell the story. And as we got closer to shooting, it felt like I wasn't going to be able to share my story in the way that I am used to. That's one of the things I love about. I'm going to hop on Instagram. I'm going to do the thing because I get to be in control of my narrative.
Absolutely.
And I am privileged enough and blessed enough that I do not have to sacrifice that for any opportunity. And so I'm excited for the folks who are on the second season to share their story, and I will absolutely be watching and supporting. And I believe the opportunity for me to tell my story and to show my life is going to come in a way that feels very much aligned and has a great deal of synergy for me. So yeah, just more exploring and trying and doing. I don't want to...
And fun
and living life. I constantly say prison also showed me that prison taught me at a young age what it feels like to just exist. Oftentimes you hear that from elders, when it's older people, we kind of sit them to the side, right? Or different facets. It was a lesson in I'm getting up every day, I'm doing things, but I'm just here.
I'm existing.
And I know that living life has, if I don't have any fear, I'm not living life. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to living more life, sister.
And having more fun.
Hello.
And so in the theme of having more fun, right? Oh my gosh. So wait, okay, so there's two things. So in the spirit of having more fun, because I just thought about this, in the spirit of having more fun, I know that you're a fan. I know that you caught something that the world didn't even catch. You're a Marvel DC girl.
Oh, I'm a comic book nerd.
Yeah.
I'm a comic book. The visual art from the workbook was created by several Marvel artists. Within the book. Yeah, I'm a comic book nerd.
And so you were able to point out and shout out to our sister Tony Bryce.
Yes.
You were able to
icon.
point out legend
boobs.
Okay.
Yes.
You were able to point out that she has the first speaking role in the Marvel universe.
In the Marvel universe.
When did you fall in love with like Marvel? And I wanted to know like
I fell in love with comics and stuff as a young kid, like collecting little comic book cards and stuff like that. I think I talk now about your superpowers, how you put them in use, and so like He-Man and she like all of that stuff. Just I think the fantasy of it all. Some kids went to like Star Wars and stuff like that. That was never my bag. It was, oh, you can fly, oh, you can be invisible, oh, you can, all of that. And so I would collect the things, and they weren't expensive. So as a little poor kid in the hood, you could get those. And then I think as I got older, it started to resonate with we all have superpowers. And so I don't watch movies. People don't know that about me. I watch the same thing all the time. I watch procedurals, I watch Food Network, but I do not miss a superhero movie or show.
Okay.
And I wasn't even really close to Tony, like the way we are now. But I knew I had not seen any of the girls.
Yeah.
In any of the people's things.
Yeah, no.
And she walked across that screen, and baby, I had one of the podcasts I watched, they had went through and they referenced, and they did a deep dive, and I was just like, oh no, she's the first. And we were not even following each other on social media, so when I messaged her, it went to like her other inbox. I'm like, I hope she sees this. And it wasn't because of anything, I was just like, I know what it feels like to accomplish. You ain't trying to be the first, it just happens.
It just happened.
And I know how hard Toni works for her craft. And it was right before the second season of P-Valley, so we didn't even know she was gonna have y'all. We didn't know what we was about to see with y'all being there and things. And so it was just, as a comic book nerd, to see my sister there to this day. Yeah. She was at my house a couple of weeks ago, and everybody was like, my sister.
But I love, and that's one of the things that I love about you. You're always celebrating the girls. So if you had to pick and choose, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay. And who do you think would win between Spider-Man and Iron Man? Because they both don't have Spider-Man does have like physical powers.
But Iron Man would beat Spider-Man.
Okay.
Iron Man is more strategic. Spider-Man is impulsive and does have some innate superpowers. So I compare myself to Spider-Man. I mean to Iron Man in regards to, on the surface, people don't think you got it, but you know how to put it together, and then it just makes you, and you're strategic. My superpower is I'm strategic. And there's a reason why he's Spider-Man's mentor in the comic books. Iron Man, yeah.
Okay, so why don't you like DC? I mean, if you had to pick one, I made you pick one, yeah.
I like DC animation more than DC movies.
Really?
DC movies, they never had caught its stride. Marvel, we've had some struggle here with Deadpool and Wolverine. We're back in, but Marvel gave us all the way through the Infinity Saga. The girls they ate that up, and so they really just chef's kiss. Like I can sit there, baby, and lose a whole day, and I'll watch them in chronological order.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick a favorite superhero from each one, who would it be and why?
I think from DC, I would pick. I would probably pick Batman. Because I feel like one Batman is like DC's version of Iron Man. They have this, but there is something about somebody with no superpowers boom-catting with the girls. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
Like looking girls in the face like, girl, yeah, I just got a boomerang, but girl, I'm about to eat this up for blood. And that's how I am. There are girls who are more beautiful than me. There are girls who are better singers, but not one of these bitches would outwork me. Not one of them. And I love everybody. No. Not one of you hoes. Outwork me. Because I know.
Yes, me.
In the power conversation, I also say that like people be so focused on having 100%. What I know is if I got 1% and I work the hell out of that 1%, I will lay your 99% out.
Facts.
It's about what you do with it. On the Marvel side, I think my favorite Marvel character. Oh my God! You know what? I'm gonna say Storm, and not Halle Berry's version.
My girl.
Really, what brought me back into Storm is how they portrayed her in X-Men '97. It was something so, and they brought back the original, voice cast. But there was that moment. This a shout you.
This is my bucket. That's on my bucket list. To play Storm.
This a shout you. When she lost her powers and she went in there and this man, and she was falling in love with this man, come to find out the man had created the gun that took her powers in the first place, but she didn't know that. And he's getting wrapped up by this demon. Black woman.
Come on.
She fights to go save him, even though she's afraid. She's afraid of confined spaces. She has claustrophobia, but she fights it to go save this black man. That also was the reason that she lost her powers in the first place. And she faced this demon and came to find out the power was there, but she had just suppressed it. And then in the scene, she comes out of these caves and she flies into the sky, and the lightning alone remakes her body. And she had the mohawk at first, and then mama got this 40-inch wet and wavy. And she flies through, and she's next to these ponies. And mama clears, and the lightning strikes. And for me, I remember watching that. I had just landed in LA. It was like 2:00 in the morning. And I said, Storm is one of the most consistent and is the biggest black women in comic books. And she's an omega level superhero. The girl's power is so real that if she steps on sand, it turns to glass. That's how much electricity moves through her. And I know I just went to a really nerdy space.
I love it.
But it also reflects to what I know about black women, is that black women will kill themselves to go save a man, a
sacrifice.
Black man, and that sometimes that very man will make you feel like the power is not in you, and sometimes you got to come up out that thing to have your best moment. And yes, ma'am. Aurora.
Thank you. Monroe. I want to celebrate you in this moment. You give all of yourself to community. You show up. You sacrifice. You support. You cheer on. You help, like, just without asking for anything in return. And we talk about giving people their flowers, right? We talk about giving people their flowers while they're alive. And we've had private conversations where you have restored me. You have got me together. Like, I'll never forget, even in the kitchen conversation as you were cutting the flowers and the conversation had took a turn. And you was like, not the Monroe that I know. No, not her, because she won't be doing. And I love you for that, because that's the kind of sister that I need. And so I want to take this moment and give you your actual flowers, because you deserve them. So, and I want to say thank you so much for even being a part of this for me. And please tell us what's next, or like where can people find you and all of those things.
Social media, the Dominique Morgan, THE Dominique Morgan. Just pushing through and doing more work. I think again, music coming back to the forefront. Getting through this fall and this election, child, because the things are happening, and just more opportunities to collaborate. I think that I also have realized that I have a great skill of visioning and things on my own, but I know the greatest things I have ever done, I've done with other folks. But I also want more collaboration of like birthing things with folks and doing new things. So yeah, I'm just gonna be out here and be amongst and hang out, and if y'all see me, I'll say hey. The Starter House.
Yes, we cannot.
The T.S. Madison Starter House. Oh my goodness. So we are. The ribbon cutting is on October 22nd, which is Madison's birthday.
Actual birthday.
Because one, it was the easiest way I knew to keep her from working on her birthday was scheduling this on her birthday and making her sit still. And also just to honor my sister. I love her so much. A lot of people don't understand our relationship because it was never really something that was like publicly broadcasted. But Madison is one of the purest hearts and one of the most kindest people, and her authenticity is off the Richter scales. And our love is those texts at 3:00 in the morning, like, girl, you good? You all right? Just sitting there. And so to be there in service to her in this house that she purchased almost 17 years ago after experiencing homelessness herself.
Yeah.
For us to welcome these young women in there is going to be exciting. So that is going to be the fall, the
so
starter
excited.
house in Atlanta, and there's the things.
The work continues.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Well, this concludes another episode of the M.I.P podcast, the Most Important Person podcast. Listen, I want you to remember that if you don't do it, it won't get done. You are the most important person in your life. Be kind to yourself. Until we meet again.